Welcome everybody to round 6 of the Euroformula Open. We come to the track I'm sure many of them were looking forward to the most. Spa-Francorchamps is where round 6 will be held. We're going to have 3 races here this weekend, the first of those about to kick off very shortly. My name's Chris McCarthy. Thank you very much for being with us. 14-lap race will be the distance this afternoon. Track pretty cold out there. It's not been the sunniest of conditions. Well, why should it be? It's October, it's Spa. We all know what Spa is like, but thankfully it's set to be dry for this one and dry tomorrow as well. Qualifying took place first thing this morning for this race. They were the first cars to go out on track, were the Euroformula Open cars. Track was a little bit green, but they quickly got up to speed. Then we had a red flag. Most drivers were still getting the tyres up to temperature, still getting their sort of first section of laps in. A lot of track limit penalties we had. Then we had a red flag with 3 minutes and 41 seconds left on the clock. That led us into a one-lap shootout, and things changed a lot more in that than I thought they would, particularly for the likes of Cruton, who jumped up to third, Dunner up to pole position. So it was a session that saw some drivers gain heavily and others lose out, like Zay Maloney, who dropped down to 9th place. Louis Foster went from 5th down to 11th place. But the cars are out there on the circuit. I can just see them getting themselves ready to go. Now, Cameron Daz was due to line up 3rd, but he has been demoted to the back of the grid for this one. So Cameron Daz is going to go off the back, but with the pace he's shown in both qualifying sessions, because we have 3 races, we've already done 2. We've done our second qualifying session earlier today for the first race. Tomorrow he's going to go off the back of the grid though after a penalty. But at the front of the field we're going to have Lucas Dunner. Yifeye is going to be alongside him. Cruton will be 3rd, Pedersen 4th, Andreas Essner 5th. Brilliant result for Glenn Van Berlo, who put himself up into 6th place. One of good few drivers out there that had never driven this circuit before. When he turned up yesterday morning, his first time out the pits was his very first time circulating this track, and you know there's a lot to it. I was speaking to Louis Foster, who's never driven this track either, nor this car. He jumped straight in and only really got a few laps yesterday. There was some red flags in the free practice sessions which disrupted them. So Louis Foster reckoned he'd probably only had like 6 full flying laps or something like that, and then went out for qualifying, and that was basically his first full run in qualifying. And in the second session earlier, he went and put it 5th on the grid. So impressive stuff for him. He's not the only new face here this weekend. He's filled the seat of Ayrton Simmons this weekend, but also going into Double R Racing is Benjamin Pedersen, who's going to line up 4th for this. So let's go through the grid in full. Lucas Dunner is going to be starting on pole position for this one. Brilliant stuff for Lucas Dunner. Been successful so far this season, still on the top step a few times, going head-to-head with this man here. Yifeye starts alongside, leading the championship by some distance is Yifeye. He will start from 2nd place. Didn't win last time out at Mugello though. The most consistent so far this season has been this man here. Hasn't finished outside of the top 10, Nicholas Cruton. And that doesn't look like it's going to be changing here with that result. Benjamin Pedersen, fantastic result from the British driver there. Put it on 4th place on his very first qualifying session in one of these cars. Hadn't really turned a wheel in these things either. Andreas Essner is going to be starting in 5th place for this one. Has been on the podium a number of times this season, has Andreas Essner. He starts from 5th place. Starting alongside him, and best qualifying so far this season should be Glenn Van Berlo. He is due to line up 6th. Manuel Maldonado is going to be in 8th place. As we have a look at him now, I don't see Glenn Van Berlo out there. Ido Cohen is out there in 7th. Maldonado is then in 8th place, and here is the A4, Ido Cohen. But I don't know what's happened to Glenn Van Berlo. Now, he did have an off in qualifying 2, and I'm not too sure if the reason he went off has caused problems, which mean he will not race in this one. Rui Andrade, I can see out there in 10th. Zay Maloney is 9th, by the way. He's going to be starting to the inside of Rui Andrade. Rui starts in 10th place, a good result for him. Alongside Rui Andrade, and one to watch out for is going to be Louis Foster, given the pace that he set earlier. Could be one to watch from just outside the top 10. Alexandre Bardignon will be in 12th place. Then it will be Sebastian Esner and Cameron Daz. There's a look at the grid for you. Drivers getting themselves ready to go. Engines have now been fired. Right then, here we go. Race number 1 of 3 at round 6 about to get underway. Dunner and Yee are going to be your front row. Cruton and Pedersen will be on row number 2. Starting just outside of the top 4 positions is Andreas Esner. He is going to be on his own on row 3, it seems. No Glenn Van Berlo on the circuit. Ido Cohen and Manuel Maldonado will be on row number 4. Row 5 will be Zay Maloney and Rui Andrade. Then we'll have Louis Foster and Alexandre Bardignon starting just outside the top 10. And rounding out the grid will be Sebastian Esner and Cameron Daz. Drivers out there on circuit. We are about to start the formation lap, and then it'll be a 14-lap race around Spa as the cars now go off for the green flag lap. Lucas Dunner and Yee leading the way now. This could be a very close race. Elliot Wood, who joins me now, was talking about a very close race we had here last year. Single-seater racing, it can be difficult at times when you have tracks with a lot of corners close together. Spa gives us lots of room for racing and lots of room for slipstreaming, and that means that I don't want to say that I don't want to jinx anything, but there is a chance this is going to be a very close one.
Yeah, I think you jinxed it. Yeah, well, we have seen the slipstreaming capacity of this car at Monza. We didn't really see it at other circuits, but Spa-Francorchamps always produces a thriller for Formula 3. And I'm thinking back, even back to the 1980s, of the races I've watched on YouTube of how good racing can be here. Obviously, last year was absolutely brilliant. Our 2 leaders did crash into each other, but the racing was so close prior to that. And also, the Marino Sato, who did win the race, we got a lot of kind of slow motion shots of him and how on the limit his car was. And when Lucas Dunner took pole this morning, he basically said the same thing, that Motor Park and Crypto Tower Racing Team set up their cars to have so much movement on the rear axle that, they're sliding through corners, you're always on the limit, and you have to be to get the most lap time out of the car. And some of that comes from the support of Tom Dillman, who, kind of helps those 2 teams.
Oh, Tom Dillman, great driver, of course, races more LMP1 these days. But was a great single-seater driver too. So what are we expecting then for this one? Who's the ones to watch? What's the score with Cameron Daz? No Glenn Van Berlo, it seems. Bring us up to speed.
I spoke to as many drivers as I could after qualifying, and I understand that Van Amersfoort Racing has a setup that basically puts more heat into the tyres quicker into the opening 2 laps. Doesn't keep the tyres lasting as long, but it does mean on those first 2 laps they're very attacking. And Lucas Dunner said if he ends up being overtaken by, let's say, Andreas Esner, who gets from 5th to 1st on the first lap, he will happily sit behind him for a few laps, knowing that he's going to have the faster car towards the end of the race, and it will help him pull away. However, if he doesn't do that, and he's got Yiffy Ye and Nicolas Cruton, who are kind of his teammates, fighting with him the whole time, he says it's going to be a bit messy. But if there's a safety car late in the race, which we saw at Monza as well, if he's sitting in 2nd place before that safety car, then he knows he's got the car to overtake for the lead. Yiffy Ye, not as confident as Dunner, but he was fairly happy that if he could make it past in the opening lap, he could then keep the lead. And of all the other drivers, they're just excited to be racing at Spa.
Have you had a chance to catch up with Cameron Daz?
No, unfortunately I was delivering the GT Open podium when I could have been speaking to Daz.
Yeah. And Glenn Van Berlo, of course, that car had a problem in qualifying 2. He doesn't seem to be out there. I don't know if he's in the end of the pit lane. We can't really see it.
Neither of the Drivex school cars are. from sight, because I haven't seen Matthias Lufin.
No, he's not out there, no.
But I did see Miguel Angel de Castro, who is kind of team principal, drive earlier. And he was having some frowny faces, I would say, with someone in a corridor. So maybe there was something wrong with the car and that they can't get it out for this race.
Well, here we go then. We're about to start race 1 of round 6. When we look down towards the grid, to the left of picture will be Lucas Dunner, to the right will be Yi, Cruton Pedersen, Esna Van Berlo, Cohen Maldonado, Maloney, Andrade, your top 10. Lucas Dunner to the right, Yi to the left as they make their way now down towards turn number 1. We are underway and racing here for race number 1 of round number 6, and Dunner is going to lead us in towards turn number 1. Yi trying to go round the outside there. He's going to slot into second place. We've got a battle for third place. Benjamin Pedersen was trying to go down round the outside, but it looks like Cruton has held on as they go down towards Eau Rouge. Pedersen is going to try and slot into fourth place. He's going up the inside in towards Eau Rouge, but has to back out there, and that looks like Andreas Esner is going to get himself back into fourth. Maloney running wide on the exit of Eau Rouge. Pedersen pulling out of the slipstream. They're almost 3 wide here. Leaders are escaping. Yi is to the right of picture. He's going side to side with Lucas Dunner, and it looks like he has taken the lead. Dunner in second. They're 3 wide in the background. Ido Cohen the one on the very inside, and Ido Cohen's gone to 5th.
Yeah, Ido Cohen, great move. Zay Maloney cuts across chicane entirely, comes out in 6th place, just ahead of Benjamin Pedersen, very loose on exit, but did get through. Yiffy ahead of Lucas Dunner, Nicholas Cruton, Andreas Esner, and now I do believe that Ido Cohen. Pedersen does lock up, keeps the position ahead of Manuel Maldonado. Pretty manic start to this race. Pedersen's under pressure again. I think Maldonado might try and go for a move. He's gone very wide out of no-name corner though, and yeah, what a tense first 2 sectors.
Glenn Van Berlo is out there. He started from pit lane. He is out there, so oh, and there we go. We got a car running wide. That's Zay Maloney. He's potentially going to lose some places here. Zay Maloney now rejoins, and he's put himself in a bit of a danger zone here. He's going to be just ahead of Benjamin Pedersen. He's going to have dirty tyres for a corner or two. Nicholas Cruton running wide there. He is the lead rookie in the standings as well as in this race as they now come through Stavolo for the first time. Yi leading Dunner. Almost no surprise there. If you can stay close up Eau Rouge, you will take the lead of the race. As Cameron Daz there getting himself up the order. He started at the very back of the field, and Cameron Daz is now up into 10th place as we see Manuel Maldonado. He did say, I'm going to try and make it as exciting as I can for you. And going around the outside of Blanchimont, I think we might have caught that, but he is definitely doing a good job at trying to do that as they come through the chicane for the first time to complete the first lap. And Maldonado around the outside at the chicane, and he does deliver. He says he was going to make it exciting. Round the outside at the chicane, I think that was Maldonado gets himself up into 7th place.
Yeah, and there's a 0.645 second gap between Ye and Dunner. Instant turn 5 under investigation. I'd expect that would be Eau Rouge. Not sure which drivers that would be referring to though.
Now that might be Maloney who cut. Oh, no, it
Maloney
would be
cut
Eau Rouge,
it at Lacombe, yeah.
Yeah. We must have maybe drivers cutting over.
Yeah, I think our top 2 could change at the ends of the Kemmel Straight. It's the smallest gap between anyone, although Pedersen is back on the rear of Maldonado. We saw them just coming over the crest of the hill. We're watching the lead cars, can't even see Dunner behind Yiffy at the moment. Ido Cohen pulls out of Andreas Esner's slipstream. He's going for 4th place. Dunner settles for 2nd. Little rear right lockup. Cohen takes 4th place. I think that's the highest position he's been in all season as Pedersen does get past Maldonado. Great start for Pedersen. This is his first race in Europe, second day in this Dallara 320 car, and a brilliant performance.
Yeah, Ido Cohen, this is the highest he's been since round 1. He got 2 4th places there, did Ido Cohen, and it was a fantastic start to the season. Many of us thought he'd push on from there, but he's got himself up to 4th. He's chasing his first podium of the season. Maloney just a couple of places back. So Andreas Esner in a bit of a Carlin sandwich here. Maloney looking to get back on the podium for the first time since Paul Ricard race 2 as they now go in towards the right-hander here. Yiffy leading Dunner by 0.3 of a second. Cruton in chase, and he's fought for the lead on a couple of occasions so far this season. He has 4 third places to his name. Does Nicholas Cruton got those at Red Bull Ring and at Monza, which was a fantastic weekend for him. But here is Andreas Esner. He is now in 5th place and has Maloney for company just behind.
Yep, and as they come round almost to complete the second lap now, the gap between the top two has actually got a little larger, 0.875 seconds. Yay, ahead of Lucas Dunner. And I was saying another minute, that's Zane Maloney that is Andreas Essner, so he's now up into...
that will be fifth place for Zane Maloney.
Yeah, so Nicholas Cruton's dropped spots.
No, he's
still third.
He's third.
So then the two Carlins, so yeah, someone had gone up on our timing screen when they shouldn't have there.
Ido Cohen in fourth, Zane Maloney in fifth place, Andreas Essner in sixth place. Fastest lap though for Lucas Dunner, who is in chase here. We see Yifei leading the way up Eau Rouge. Lucas Dunner we pick up now in picture as they come onto the Camel Straight, and we'll see this gap now close. I don't think he's going to be close enough to do anything about the lead of Yifei by the end of this straight, but he's just got to try and stay with him. Cruton will certainly be hoping that the two teammates ahead battle, and you can just see how close a 6/10 gap closes to virtually nothing as they hit the brakes for Les Combes. Cruton in third. We've had a change for seventh place here. Pedersen round the outside of Maldonado. Great move there from Benjamin Pedersen round the outside of Maldonado. And that is a change for seventh. And now trying to get involved in this is Cameron Daz, who sat there in ninth place, having gone up from the back of the grid. And with a little lock up there, Cameron Daz could open up an opportunity to him. He's in the white and black colours here, the American, as they now come through No Name and make their way down towards Pua.
Maybe we should give a name to No Name corner.
I think people have tried it many times, and I think it's just kind of kept caught on now. Some people don't call it anything, but some people just call it Turn 11. But anyway, I don't think we're at a stage to talk about naming corners.
Yeah, we're still only on lap 3.
It's not like we're on hour 16 of a 24-hour.
Oh, I don't need reminding.
Where that conversation may need to happen during a 45-minute red flag.
Ye has pulled out 6/10 through that middle sector. I think Lucas Dunner might have made a mistake because he's dropped back down to 9/10 behind. He was within a quarter of a second of the leader prior to that. I think that is Pedersen, just we're seeing on camera now, being followed by Maldonado. He's got a 1 second gap to Maloney ahead, but is actually one of the quicker cars. Andreas Essner's going quite slowly in 5th place.
Yes, he is. He's dropped back from Zane Maloney, as you said. There's a suspension in Pedersen. I think he's just made that place, so it's now got to try and break away. He's got to hope that Maldonado gets into a fight with Daz, but I think it's going to be more Maldonado trying to go past Pedersen as they turn into La Source. This on lap number 4 now. It's still 6/10 between the top two. Cruton sort of matching them in pace. He's 3/10 slower, so he's dropping back a little bit. Is Nicholas Cruton, but if a fight starts to happen there, then he will be right with them as we look back here at the fight for 7th place. Pedersen and Maldonado. Maldonado about to make this move as we see almost a change for the lead. Dunner side by side with Yifei as they turn into the right-hander at Les Combes. Now through turn 9. This is where you've got to be careful of track limits. You've got to have your inside tyres remaining on there. Ye and Dunner now round Bruxelles and down to turn 11. Fast downhill left-hander as there goes side by side. That's Cameron Daz making another move, this time on Manuel Maldonado, and that is a change for 8th place there.
Pedersen's still in 7th. Great job at Pedersen. Louis Foster is just at the back of this queue as well in 10th place. Both of these are debutants. Here's Pedersen being squeezed out almost by Maldonado as he made the move. In the end, done cleanly. Very hard to do actually around the outside, well, inside that then becomes the outside of the exit of Les Combes.
And that opened the door for Daz, and that gave him the opportunity. Oh, that's the second time we've seen Maloney run wide.
And the second time he saved it with kind of, well, quicker than we can think car control.
Yeah, very impressive stuff. Now, he's in the fight for 4th place with his teammate. I wonder if he catches Cohen, if they might start working together a little bit to try and catch 3rd place Nicholas Cruton.
Yeah, and Lucas Dunner was just about to make an overtake on Yifei going into the final chicane there. And we see Ye did get ahead. Cruton in 3rd. Cohen went a little too deep into that corner there. The gap as they cross the line between our top two is now down to 0.496 seconds. I think our timing screen's kind of glitched out, so we need to start ignoring that entirely.
It's given up on us.
Ido Cohen in 4th, Zane Maloney in 5th, Andreas Sessner 6th. Huge gap to Cameron Dass. Cameron Dass has got past Pedersen just as Maldonado goes as inside as he can go. What a great move down the inside of 2 cars at once. I think he could cut. Well, he cut the corner essentially there on the inside curves, and they're coming back alongside Pedersen, Maldonado, and Dass. Are they going to go 3 wide at Eau Rouge? I really hope they don't, but Dass keeps ahead. Pedersen going side by side. Maldonado, they've all kept it within track limits. This is impressive stuff. Maldonado stays ahead going onto Kemmel Straight. Pedersen's going to have double slipstream as Lucas Dunner tries to go around the outside of Yifei for the lead at the Combe. Doesn't make it happen. Zane Maloney's just overtaken Ido Cohen for 4th place behind them. We need to go back to the battle for 5th or 7th even to see who's in the lead there. I think Maldonado might have got ahead of Cameron Dass.
Well, brilliant racing. I don't think Maldonado meant that move. I think he just got it a little bit wrong, and it was, I'm going to have to go for this or go straight into the back of someone, but we've seen Lucas Dunner.
There's Essner.
We've seen Lucas Dunner side by side with Ye on a few occasions now, but I think he needs to be within half a second to make the move. He's been 6/10 back, but he can narrow that down a bit.
He essentially needs to make the move down halfway down Kemmel Straight rather than the end, because Ye knows where he needs to cover off. Nicholas Cruton's actually going faster than both of them in 3rd place. Zane Maloney almost lapping at the same speed. In fact, the top 6 are kind of stagnated in speed. I mean, there's a bottleneck behind Maldonado now and set him 3 wide.
This is what happened. So Pedersen ends up on the outside of Daz, goes around the outside, takes the inside. Foster is trying to get through. Double R now have their cars right together, and could look a little bit more excited.
I thought that was going to be a replay, and then we were going to suddenly go ooh, but no, it was live footage. Pedersen's still ahead of Foster. So how did Das get ahead? No, Maldonado's now up to 5th. So we've got still some battling. Yeah, he is up at the 5th because he's ahead of Cameron Dass. Cameron Dass is going to come back at him into the final chicane. Tries the outside line. Maybe tries a cut back, and he's actually got a better exit as our leaders cross the line again. 0.487 seconds between them this time. Big gap between Maloney and Cohen. Huge gap back to Maldonado in 7th. I think Cameron Dass wouldn't try a Maldonado-esque move into turn 1. Don't think anyone would try that move apart from Maldonado.
No, that was definitely not intentional. Maldonado is 7th then, Dass is 8th, Pedersen 9th. This is your battle for the lead. Close enough now, so this is going to be a switch surely for the lead, unless he doesn't want to take the lead at this stage of the race. Well, Ye's going to cover off, Dunner's going to go to the outside. Who's going to be later on the brakes? Dunner's going to go for this, but Ye has it under braking and holds on to the lead. So Yifei still in the race lead. Lucas Dunner was ahead, clearly going into the braking zone. We saw a brief change in positions there, but it's Ye who has the lead from Dunner. Cruton on the last lap was matching them for times, but fastest of anyone is Zane Maloney. He set a new fastest lap that time around, and he is within 2 seconds of Nicholas Cruton. He did a 2:11 flat. These guys did a 2:11.4, so exciting to chip away at these guys. And if Cruton gets involved in this battle for the lead, that will only start to exaggerate. Now, Ido Cohen is 7/10 back from Maloney. Essner is starting to go with them as well. Andreas Essner a lot quicker than Ido Cohen last time, 8/10 quicker to be exact. So we've got a 3-way battle for 4th developing, almost a 3-way battle for the lead as well. Here is Yifei going into the final chicane. And you see Dunner in the background, a slightly tighter line through the first part to give him a wider run through the second part. Now we've had a track limits warning for Zane Maloney in turn 9. That's what cost him in qualifying for this race. He would have been starting a lot higher and probably would have been in this battle that we're seeing had that not have happened. He's got his teammate behind him. Maldonado has been given a track limits warning for the same corner. So got to be careful through there. But we are approaching half-race distance as they come up to the line now. Ye is leading Dunner, Nicholas Cruton in 3rd place. Then it's Maloney, Cohen, Essner, Maldonado, Daz, Pedersen. Foster rounds out your top 10. And it's Sebastian Essner, Andrade, Van Berlo, and Alexandre Bardignon.
We have 16 seconds covering our top 30. Well, actually, Glenn Van Berlo showing up on track now.
Oh, no, he came out, he started in the pits.
Ah, right. So we have got a proper battle going all the way through the field, and if there is a late safety car, I imagine we could have at least 6 cars in lead contention. Cruton is sticking to the back of these front 2, and the more they battle, the more he should be able to stay with them. Yiffy braking later into Lacombe every time. I wonder how long it's going to take for those brakes to wear down a bit. That Dunner does have the advantage going to the corner, and yeah, he shouldn't defend it in case something bad does happen as they go side by side through that ever tightening apex.
Now Cruton was 4 tenths quicker than Yiffy last time, and 6 tenths quicker than Lucas Dunner. The gap is the smallest it has been for a long time now. It's down to 1.1 seconds as they make their way down towards Podium. In the background, Maloney 2.3 back from this. Quicker than the top two, not quicker than Cruton. Cruton is actually the fastest of the top 6. Faster than anyone, though, is Cameron Daz. He is absolutely flying out there at the moment, and he has opened up a gap over Maldonado. Now he has the chance to try and take something out of these guys here. He's going to need them to fight, I think, is Cameron Daz, to actually catch them. But it's showing the pace he does have, and this is why he's going to line up third on the grid for the race tomorrow, having qualified third in qualifying 2 earlier today. Maloney making his way now through Blanchimont, just over 2 seconds back from the top 3, and we pick up the first of those top 3 now in view. Yiffy, Lucas Dunner behind as they make their way out of the chicane and now down the start-finish straight, and that's going to bring us pretty much to half race distance. We've got a warning for car 69. Lucas Dunner, you're going to have to be careful through there through turn 9 again. But Lucas Dunner has done a fastest lap of the race. That brings him 6 tenths when they cross the line. That would have been even smaller by the time they got to turn 1. And that gap is only getting smaller now as they go up towards Eau Rouge. It's 6 tenths now. If you're a little bit further back, I wonder if that gives you the aero through Eau Rouge to get an even stronger run down the Camel Straight. Here we go. We're going to see Yiffy doing his best to break the toe here. Lucas Dunner is catching. He's catching. He's going to be to the outside once again. Yiffy goes defensive. They turn in towards the right-hander at Lacombe. And once again, Lucas Dunner not quite able to get through.
Yeah, did look on the inside of his mirrors pretty much all the way down the straight. Then finally, almost as they to the braking zone, went on the inside line. And another lock-up there for Lucas Dunner at Bruxelles corner. He's done that, I think, 2 or 3 times now. But what I was going to say was Yiffy then took a lot of curb on the exit Lacombe, which isn't going to help his tyres much, and that's enabled Cruton to close in once again. 2.2 seconds behind still, but with half of this race still to go, firmly still in contention for the lead. Further back, Cameron Dass and Manuel Maldonado in battle. Louis Foster attacking R Racing teammate Benjamin Pedersen for 9th. Both of these drivers come from BRDC British Formula 3, which usually races at the Spa-Francorchamps circuit. They hold a triple header here in July, I think. But because of the current pandemic, that got dropped from the schedule, and because they'd already basically signed contracts to race here with R, they were like, well, join the Euroformula team for the weekend.
Right.
And both of them have done astonishingly good jobs, given their inexperience of this car and the circuit, and I guess of this kind of level of racing as well. And they're both currently in the points. Brilliant job.
Yeah, they're loving it this weekend. Spoke to Louis Foster before this race, and he's really enjoying the experience of being here. And what he said to me was, our aim really, they have their eyes set on that 3rd race. Having the 3rd race helps, particularly in their situation. First 2 qualifying sessions was, let's get up to speed. Now they've got 2 races to put even more laps in. When they go for 3rd qualifying tomorrow, they will be confident around this track. They won't have the knowledge that some of the others have, but they will have a lot more than they had when they first turned up, which was basically 0. And their goal, their target is set on race 3.
And remember, basically, Foster ended yesterday still with 0 knowledge because he crashed early on in free practice 1.
Well, he said he did about 5 or 6 laps.
Yeah, car was being repaired all the way through FP2. As we're watching the lead battle, Yiffy ducking across very early in the straight, but very severely. Dunner's actually got his nose ahead, going around the outside. Lacombe cuts across the chicane. He would have remembered what happened with the 2 Motorpark teammates who did the same thing last year, Yuki Tsunoda and Liam Lawson. They didn't cut across the chicane when that happened and ended up colliding. Another lockup, rear right lockup for Lucas Dunner. Now, what corner is that tyre going to be worked hardest?
He's going to, and a little bit out of shape. So let's have a look what happened. He's a little bit ahead going in, but it's never going to work. And Yiffy was actually running him was actually running him wide a little bit there. You can see Yifei gave him nowhere else to go, and Lucas Dunner ran wide. Now, I think he would have given the place back. Surely what do you reckon? Do you reckon he has to give that place back?
I'm not sure. I don't really think... Well, it was a fair move, but also it was, you know, when it's Spa-Francorchamps, isn't it? It's a bit tricky. I'm just thinking here that he's going to lose time through Blanchimont because that right rear tyre has been locked up fully at least 4 times, and we saw a little puff of smoke as well as they entered Lecombe. But he has broken away pretty quickly, so Dunner clearly had the pace to be ahead of Ye for this first half of the race and has kind of been bottled up behind.
Well, here they go then, down towards the final chicane. Lucas Dunner, I think if he was going to give that place, would have done it already. So Lucas Dunner is your new leader in race number 1 as they come through the chicane and make their way out towards turn number 1.
But also these drivers have got to do it like in football and hockey. You play on until the whistle's called. So you don't want to give the position back until you're told to as well, because otherwise, you know, you may have just conceded a position for the sake of it.
Yeah, very true. Now, all I can say, here he goes, he's going to give it back now. There you go, so he's been...
So he can get the slipstream up to Eau Rouge, down the Camel Straight and get back ahead.
We've seen this happen before. We have seen this happen before in some big races as they now go up Eau Rouge. This on lap number 10. It's going to be side by side once again between Yifei and Lucas Dunner, who pulls out of the slipstream as they come out of Eau Rouge and now down the Camel Straight. To the right of picture is Lucas Dunner. To the left is championship leader Yifei, the 2 championship leaders side by side down towards Lecombe, and it's going to be Yifei on the inside. A little lock up there from Lucas Dunner, and he will remain in 2nd place.
Yifei is going to be leading this race. This would be his 7th win in the season, I believe. He won the first 2 races at Hungaroring. He won 1 race at Paul Ricard, both at the Red Bull Ring.
Yep.
He didn't win at all at Monza. No, he did win the first race at Monza.
He hasn't won since race 1 Monza.
Yes, yeah, but somehow he led the whole of that race despite, you know, everyone slipstreaming behind him.
Yes, he hasn't won. He could do with getting on the top step because by his standards it's been a while. Whereas, you know, Dunner took 3 on the bounce and then 2nd at the last in the final race at Mugello. So he's on fire. He hasn't finished outside of since he returned at Monza. He's finished 1st or 2nd, and that doesn't look like it's going to change here, does it? He's in 2nd.
This circuit has usually been the turning point in previous years for Formula 3 seasons and how they kind of go. Look at 2018 European F3, Mick Schumacher started his winning run here. Reno Sato, his amazing qualifying lap in the 2nd session here last year. That was kind of the turning of who was the lead driver in that motorpark team. European F3 in 2017, Lando Norris and Joel Eriksson. This is where Lando kind of upped his game and started pulling away as well. This year, I think it might be Lucas Dunner, you know, showing he's equal to Yifei and possibly even faster on some of these circuits.
I mean, he's quite a way back in the standings, but, you know, he's missed 2 rounds, so...
I think he's been on pole more often than not in the races he's actually been here, which is very impressive.
Yes, he's got 5. He's took pole, so he's got 6 pole positions now in the rounds that he's done, which is incredible. You know, he's done 4 rounds coming into this, so to have 6 pole positions is very impressive stuff indeed as they now go up towards Eau Rouge and now make their way down the Camel Straight. And I wonder if Lucas Dunner has taken a slight break here and he's now gearing himself up for the final 2 laps. It might be that he's starting to struggle on those sides, but Yifei is your leader. Dunner in 2nd. Let's talk about what's going on behind, because there's not going to be any changes between these 2 until at least the end of the lap if none of them make any mistakes. Nicholas Cruton is 1.6 back. It's closing in though, as here we go. This is a battle between 2 teammates, double R teammates. Louis Foster ahead of Pedersen. It's a change of positions, and Louis Foster goes up to 9th place ahead of Benjamin Pedersen. In between these and the leaders, Cruton is 3rd. He is the lead rookie. 2nd of the rookies is Zane Maloney in 4th place. Then it's Cohen in 5th. Essner is in 6th. Cohen just behind Zane Maloney. He's been slowly chipping away at that gap. Essner is 6th with a 2.5 second advantage over Cameron Daz. That gap is halved since Cameron Daz made that move over Manuel Maldonado, who is 8th. Then it's Pedersen and Foster, who have just swapped places. Foster now 9th, Pedersen dropping to 10th. Then we have Essner, Van Berlo, Andrade and Alexandra Bardignon. You can see in the background, that was Dunner running a little bit wide going into that chicane. It's cost him a little bit of time. But let's see if he can start making that time up, because we're into the final 4 laps of this race now. 3 1/4 remaining as they go down towards Blanchimont on lap number 11. Dunner seems to just be dropping back here. Nicholas Cruton, 1.6 back last time they crossed the line as they hit the brakes now. Nicholas Cruton, got to be careful. He could potentially be in danger here to dropping into the clutches of Zane Maloney if it's a problem with tyres going off. Here we go, up to the line. Updated gaps coming right up for you. So 7/10 between Ye and Dunner. Then it's 1.4 between Cruton and Maloney. So that gap has come down by 0.4 of a second. Cohen likewise lapping very impressively. He's only 1.2 back, then 1.8 to Andreas Essner. But here are your top two in picture. They're making their way up Eau Rouge now for the 12th time of asking on race number 1 of round number 6. Yet another head-to-head between Yifei Ye and Lucas Dunner. Who's going to come out on top as they make their way down the Camel Straight. They now hit the brakes, make their way in towards Les Combes. And down through turn 9. This is where the track limit penalties are coming into play. They've got to be careful as here is Pedersen and Foster. So Pedersen has got that 9th place back on Foster. The two teammates continuing to fight away with each other. Down towards Bruxelles. Now in terms of head-to-heads, Ye and Dunner have gone head-to-head several times this season now. Paul Ricard, which was Dunner's first round, it was 1-1. Dunner took the first win, Ye the second win. Then at Monza, Ye took the first win over Dunner, that was 2-1. Then it was 2-2 when Dunner took the race win in race 2, and 3-2 when Dunner took race 3 victory. And then Dunner took the win at Mugello, Yifei Ye not having the best of fortunes there. And Dunner beating him to the line for second as well in race number 2 at Mugello. So Dunner has beat Ye more than the other way around, basically. Ye want to fight back here now at the first race at Spa.
Yeah, and it will be more of a fight now because they did have some kind of like team strategy between them in qualifying that help each other, hand each other, you know, the toe on different laps. But often it tended to be the case that one driver got the toe on the very last lap when the track was at its quickest more than the other. So they have officially stopped that strategy between them, as we're seeing Glenn Van Berlo fighting for position with Sebastian Essner. Van Berlo, I think, has scored points in every race so far. He may have had one race off at Mugello where he didn't score points. Very consistent.
No, it's been every race.
Every race, so he's going to be wanting to continue that. He's overtaken Essner for 11th. How far up the road is Pedersen? About 1.2 seconds, 1.3 seconds. It's actually Louis Foster. And
they're fighting with each other as well.
Yeah, so Van Berlo wants to continue his point scoring streak. And he raced in Formula 4 last year, you know, just as inexperienced as the likes of Zane Maloney. And he's done a good job as well with a team that, you know, hasn't got an experienced driver alongside him for him to learn from. Ye looking in his mirrors left and right there on the entry to Les Combes. Only one more chance at Les Combes for Lucas Dunner. Possibly into the final chicane on this lap, he could have a go as well. It's a close battle between these two. In qualifying, they were separated by 0.022 and 0.045 seconds. It's averaging out as 0.03 of a second between them. And in the race, they're probably going to finish, you know, 0.6 apart as well.
Now, has Dunner timed this race to perfection? He's dropped back a bit. He's been closing that gap once again slowly. That's the closest he's been down the Camel Straight for a while. Here's Cruton, who is being caught by Zane Maloney. Last time around, Maloney closed the gap by a further 0.2. I don't think it's nervous times just yet for Cruton. On this lap, though, Maloney has closed the gap by 0.4, so I'm going to correct myself straight away, but that was a little bit wide there from Lucas Dunner. And is that then going to be the win for Yifei Ye? Because Lucas Dunner would have got a bad exit there and not getting the toe that he would usually be getting now down towards Blanchimont. So a slight mistake from Lucas Dunner. That's going to cost him now as he makes his way through Blanchimont and now down towards the chicane. Yifei Ye will not need to defend, but Lucas Dunner trying to get close for that run down towards the Les Combes section. Here they come out of the chicane and now down the start-finish straight. Lucas Dunner going on to the final lap of the race. Yifei Ye ahead of Lucas Dunner. Yifei Ye in search of his first win since the first race at Monza. There's been 4 races since then, so it's been a while since Yiffy has stood on the top step of the podium. Can he get himself back there here at the first race at Spa? Up towards Eau Rouge they go. 6/10 is the gap between Ye and Dunner. He's been safe every time the gap has been 6/10 has Yiffy Ye. Let's see if that's the case now as they head down the Camel Straight for the final time. Lucas Dunner in the slipstream as we've got penalties for Bardignon and for Van Berlo in the background. Cruton now trying to weave a little bit to break the toe to Zane Maloney, who is closing in. Here are your top 2, and Lucas Dunner is going to have to try and keep the pressure on Yiffy Ye here, because I'm not sure he's going to have he might get an opportunity into the final chicane, but that will be his only chance to make a move for the lead as they now come down towards turn 11. Cruton, though, with Maloney just behind as well. That could be a fight for the last step on the podium and the rookie win when they make their way down towards the chicane. Both drivers, Ye and Cruton, have just got to keep it on the road, and they might just have enough here as we go down towards the right-hander. Ye leading Dunner, championship leader, leading second in the championship. It's been a great fight between them. They've swapped places, but Dunner, who was on pole, losing the lead to Yiffy Ye, and Yiffy Ye has now on track to get that first win since the first race at Monza as we make our way down towards Blanchimont. It looks like he's done enough to do this. Lucas Dunner's going to tuck into the toe as they make their way up towards the left-hander. Is he going to be able to get close enough to have a challenge? Through the left-hander they come, and now down towards the chicane. He's getting closer and closer, is Lucas Dunner. Is he going to be close enough for a look up the inside? On the brakes they go. Yiffy Ye's got to keep it with, and no mistakes as Yiffy Ye getting a little bit out of shape there, but out of the chicane is going to be Yiffy Ye who takes the race win. The first win here of the weekend going to the Chinese driver. Lucas Dunner will finish second, and in the background, coming across the line to finish in third place will be Ido Cohen. What on earth happened down at the chicane? Andreas Estner comes across the line in 4th. Cameron Downs in 5th. Maldonado 6th, so no Nicholas Cruton. Here's what happened. Maloney dived down the inside and Cruton just turned in on him. Well, somehow Maloney was able to get that car back to the start-finish line, but Cruton appears to be stuck down at the final corner where Maloney didn't even make it across the line. He's pulled over to the right-hand side, so Maloney is going to be classified down in 13th. Cruton eventually gets going and will finish in 12th place, but a disaster for Zane Maloney at the end of the race there. We knew the battle between those two was getting close, but Maloney felt he had the run there to go for the inside, and Nicholas Cruton wasn't having any of that, either that or he simply didn't see it coming. But here is your race winner. Yiffy Ye takes the race win, 4 tenths ahead of Lucas Dunner, and that will feel good. 4 races without a win for someone on his form. The championship leader is back on top. Third place, Ido Cohen. Well, Ido Cohen, that his first podium of the season. Best result for Ido Cohen. Brilliant stuff. It was kind of handed to him there at the end, but nevertheless, he had to get the thing back. Yiffy Ye, Lucas Dunner, Ido Cohen, your top 3. Estner, Daz, what a remarkable drive from Cameron from the very back of the grid, from 14th to 5th. Maldonado 6th, Louis Foster in 7th place. Benjamin Pedersen, those two, their first ever races in this championship and in these cars. Sebastian Estner 9th, Glenn Van Berlo from the pit lane, not a bad effort from him. He scored points in every single race this season. That looked to be challenged when he had to start from the pit lane, but he gets there and he gets to 10th place. Rui Andrade 11th after the dramas at the last corner. Cruton drops from 3rd to 12th, and Maloney from 4th to 14th place. Bardignon finishes in 13th. Well, the championship looks like this. 269 for Yiffy Ye, extending just a little bit now to Lucas Dunner with that win, who's on 176. Then Andreas Estner, with Nicholas Cruton out of the race, extends his advantage to 17 points in the battle for 3rd place. Maldonado just ahead of Cohen now, who's closed that gap with that 3rd place. Maloney 7th, Simmons 3rd, Estner then in 9th place. Drama at the end of the race, a good fight for the lead. Lucas Dunner not quite able to make it in terms of taking the race win. Finishes second behind teammate Yifi Ye, and Ido Cohen picks up third place. He'd been having a great race, Ido Cohen, and drove through to get himself into that battle for third place, closed the gap, and then at the end, some good fortunes for him, and he finishes third.
Yife, it was some time that we didn't talk with you after a race, but it's back to victory now and winning a very important duel.
Yeah, absolutely. We had some, misfortunate in Mugello, but for Spa we managed to regroup our focus, and then we did a very good job this morning. Unfortunately, I missed the pole position twice by less than half a tenth, but I think it was really down to the fact that I didn't have a good toe. But it can happen in Spa. It's racing, so the focus was then to make a good race this afternoon. So I know that my pace is very closely matched with Lucas. So all I need to do is to do a good start and try to get him on lap 1 at after Camel Straight at the comb, and I managed to do so. And from there onwards, I was just trying to hold on to the lead. He was coming close a couple of times. We had some wheel-to-wheel actions in turn 5. It was quite cool actually, but luckily it was just enough to bring back home the victory. So very happy about that. We'll be looking forward to focus on tomorrow's race, and I think toe is a very big factor in the race, so it's never easy to break through. So we'll be expecting another 2 interesting races tomorrow.
Well done for now, and enjoy the moment. Thank you.
Let's look back at how it all happened then. Lucas Dunner would lead us from pole position to the left-hand side of screen. Yife Ye to the right as they charged down towards turn number 1 for the first time. Yife Ye slotting into second place there as we came out of La Source for the first time of asking. There was some side-by-side action down towards Eau Rouge, as you will see. Benjamin Pedersen to the right of screen, Andreas Essner to the left as they go into Eau Rouge. Andreas Essner slotting into fourth behind Nicholas Cruton, who was in third. This was Zay Maloney. He was making places and making good time. That was him going past Andreas Essner, and next would be his teammate Ido Cohen. Battles for the lead though. The 2 leaders did swap places. Lucas Dunner would retake the lead, and this is when he did it. He was ahead going into Les Combes, had to cut across to avoid an incident, and that was the position gained for him. But Yife Ye would take it back when he was given the place back by Lucas Dunner, who gave that place back and left himself in a good position to challenge once again as they went down towards Les Combes. That didn't quite get enough of a toe before pulling out of the slipstream, and he wouldn't be able to get past Yife Ye. Yife Ye was close at the end, very close, but he would just about do enough coming out of the final corner, and it would be Yife Ye on the top step of the podium for the 7th time this season. Well, there are the top 3 drivers getting ready to come out on to the podium. His first podium of the season, the Carlin Racing driver, Ido Cohen, comes out on to the podium. Brilliant drive from him and a well-deserved third place. He's not had some good fortunes this season, but Ido Cohen, it's about time things went his way. Second place to Lucas Dunner. His joint worst result of the season. Doesn't sound too bad, does it? But your race winner is Yife Ye. 7th time on the top step. Crypto Tower Racing will be out there, and then we'll have the national anthems. Before those, Sebastian Essner comes out onto the podium. But national anthems now coming up. Our lead rookie, our top 3, and a team representative from Crypto Tower Racing, all on the podium there. The first of 3 podiums for this weekend. Our schedule for tomorrow will be out for qualifying at 9 o'clock local time here in Belgium. Then 25 past 11 we'll have race number 2 where the grid is already set. And race number 3 will be at 20 minutes past 3. Yiffy, the only one who wants to get the champagne out, do it by himself. Why not? And with Yiffy celebrating with his champagne, we will end the broadcast there. Hope you've enjoyed the first race. We've got 2 more coming up tomorrow. We'll see you then.
Ils vont l'essayer que ça va marcher.